after half-time, which was his only spell on the game, I think, and Joe Shorrock keeps improving for Wigan. Greg Eden, still Cass have to persist with him because he's their best outlet with his speed, and he turned the field position around that led to the second try with a great break. Tyler Heppy would be the one real negative I'd pull out for Cass. I think he'd be getting dropped if he wasn't getting banned. He really didn't impress me in this game. Even though he tried to put himself about, I don't think he did anything really effectively in this game. And with some of the other players that were in the 21-man squad, I assume they were injured, Griffin and Smith. If they weren't, then they're going to be picked ahead of him next week, I would say. And Matautia I've mentioned, haven't I, already? I think this is one of his best games I've seen for him play for Cass, and he started the year really, really well. So, yeah, that's kind of my overall summation of this one.
Excellent, yeah.
Highlights, Wigan did score 2 really good tries. Hastings probably bombed what should have been the first try for Bevan French, because he could have passed a short ball to French who no one would have caught up with once he'd have got running. But in fact, he took the tackle, and that meant Harry Smith got the chance to show his pace and that optimistic offload that Hardacre, who actually was lined up in the centres on that play because of just how it had developed, was supporting to score. And then after the half-time break, people might have seen the Hastings kick into space for the pace of Bevan French, which French was never going to not get to that ball, and no one else was anywhere near the picture. So that one's worth a few rewatches as well from my perspective.
Yeah. So basically, Wigan were just a bit better everywhere, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Wigan were the better side, but Cass were good.
Excellent. So moving on, it was Huddersfield 0, St Helens 12 at half-time, refereed by Robert Hicks, and it finished Huddersfield 10, St Helens 18. In terms of team stats, St Helens made over 400 more metres at 1.2 metres per carry at better average gain. With breaks at 2 each, 4 more errors by the Giants was a key number in separating the teams. Individually, for Saints, Alex Walmsley with 5 tackle busts and 166 metres, Mark Percival with 1 try and 151 metres, Kevin Nagama with 142 metres, Jack Wellesby with 1 try, 136 metres and 3 offloads. And for the losers, Josh Jones decided he would play this week and made 43 tackles, of which 11 were mark attackers.
That's a hangover from last year, I'm guessing, Sarah.
Well, not even so much. It's just something I have really noticed this season that, yeah, one week he plays and the next week he doesn't. But yeah, he did pick his matches a little bit last season as well. But I know, like last week, he was rubbish, wasn't he? Anyway, so I'll finish giving him his credit. He also made 5 tackle busts and 143 metres. Darnell McIntosh with 145 metres, Jerry McGilvery with 1 try and 114 metres, and Luke Yates with 65 tackles.
Yeah, clean bill from the disciplinary on this match, so I'll give the first fan view, which was Matt Speakman 20. He said, pretty good game really. I thought Huddersfield may crumble in the second half after doing so much defending in the first. They actually lifted and played some nice rugby. Saints keep on winning though, and then I think that's a non-plussed emoji.
Okay, it's just a square on mine.
Yeah.
Mark W said, with such a depleted back line up against the champions and after such a disappointing loss last week, I'll absolutely take that. Not always enough spark in attack, but no shortage of effort. To defend that much for the first half and still have energy in the dying minutes is really promising, and it feels we're not far off getting some points off the board. But let's not leave it too long, yeah?
White Pie said, Lee Gaskell is stealing a living, and unless Huddersfield get it together soon, they will spend the majority of the season looking over their shoulder at relegation. Saints never got out of second gear.
Well, Joshua's tipping Huddersfield to potentially be the ones that go down. David Hunter said, at least Huddersfield kept this one close, but it's not been the start to the year that most expected from them. Maybe it'll take time, and there was some signs that they are improving. Just a tough assignment against Saints, even if Saints were a little off.
St. David said, ground out another 2 points. We still look like we are playing in second gear. I just hope we are. Wellesby was the highlight again. He has a lot to improve yet, but a very high ceiling. Bolter for the England squad? Question mark. Come on, you mighty Saints. He wrote it out this time, Sarah.
He didn't want any mistakes.
That's cheeky. We did get a late one in from Mike Webster as well. He said, well, lockdown got to Sky this week. Not even I thought this was the match to watch tonight. Sounds like the other one was the entertaining one too. At least I didn't have to see the Pies win. Best from this was seeing youngsters King Jack, Dodd and Wingfield all looking good at Super League level. So what did you make of this one, Sarah?
Well, it was I think it was quite a surprising result given the performance the week before.
And the start.
Sorry?
And the start of this match.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating, to be a Huddersfield fan and think if only you could have put this sort of performance in against Rovers last week. You'd like to think that they maybe would have got something from it.
Yeah.
But I've just noticed that Huddersfield have become the first team to score 2 tries against St Helens, which really shows something about St Helens' defence, doesn't it? It's really a case of, yes, we'll keep you to as few points as possible and then we'll score what we need to beat you.
The first team to go over 1,000 metres, I think, against them in Super League this year as well. So it's they do have to take some credit out of that, even though you're hinting at what David's hinted at, which is, have Saints really hit the straps yet, or are they just doing enough to win the games at this stage?
Yeah, and kept them to under 20 points. So again, Huddersfield's defence, you've got to sort of give them a pat on the back for that. But some of the stats, again, seeing Walmsley up there with 166 metres and 5 tackle busts, that's exhausting, isn't it, to be defending against all the time?
Yeah, you kind of feel like some players tackling some players is more than just one tackle in terms of the energy it takes out of you.
Yeah, but it was Mark Percival's first match back, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's got good numbers, but I sort of, in my head, I'm thinking he went off towards the back end of the game, because I'm sure there was a period where James Bentley was playing in the centres, but maybe I've made that up in my mind, but I thought he went off, but they didn't really talk about it on Sky. He's a bit biscuity at the moment, Mark Percival.
Yeah.
But he got a try and he got some metres.
Well, yeah, so, credit to him. I don't have a massive amount to say about it. I don't know if you've got anything else to throw in there.
What did you make of the Saints youngsters? Mark Webb pulled out, in particular, Dodd and Wingfield off the bench, because we all know about Wellesby now. Wingfield, to me, looked like he is being sort of fed into this team the right way, and he looks like he can do some games in Super League. Maybe not, against Wigan, Hull or Cast, the other sort of top contenders this year, or Catalans, but certainly against these sides at the bottom half of the table. I don't know if you agree.
It's really good, isn't it, to be in a position where you don't have to blood these youngsters, but you're able to pick and choose when you're playing them.
Yeah.
And then with the hope that actually when you need to play them, they've got a dozen matches under their belt or whatever it is. And that way, if they are thrown into a game against Wigan or whoever, it's not such an issue.
Yeah. So Joshua thinks Huddersfield are going down. Is that based mostly on Lee Gaskell's kind of just thinking he can stand around and wait for a ball to come to him, and no Saints player is going to try and jump to take that ball at all?
He said it before the Rovers match, actually, which I thought was quite a bold statement at that point.
Yeah, I think it's a bold statement just off the basis of Huddersfield have won one game this year. It was in the cup, and it was against the other team that are winless, and or one of the other teams that are winless. And the difference between the two sides in that game, especially the second half of that game, was quite stark.
I think, to be honest, that in one way they're quite safe because there's enough other teams that are probably slightly poorer than them.
Yeah, and you look at the side and you look at even the effort they put in this, the fitness they showed in this game, and you think surely they can't be a side that are going to get relegated. But my mind goes back to like when London were in Super League and very competitive. They won 10 games that year.
Yeah.
And below them in the Championship, you had a really good Toronto side, a really exciting Toulouse side, a pretty strong Featherstone and Leigh side, especially if you could like combine those two teams, sort of thing. And everyone was talking about a 14-team Super League would be realistic. As we've started this year, it kind of feels like 12 teams is a stretch again. We're back at that end of the cycle, I think, this year maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we get on. But I certainly think Huddersfield are good enough to get out of the rut they're in. And this game showed me more about Huddersfield than it did about Saints, probably, this game in the end.
Yeah, I guess the concern is what will they do, the next time they play a Rovers or Wakefield or Leigh or Salford? Are the players lifting their game for the Saints, the Wigan matches?
Well, we'll find out, won't they? Because they've got Leeds. They've got Leeds next week, so one of the other easy beats.
Yeah. That is the thing, isn't it? It's interesting to see what the players' attitude is, really.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the team that they're going to be playing against next week then, and move on to the third game, Sarah, of the week.
Yep. Sorry, that's me as well. I was looking at the wrong game then. So this was Hull KR 26, Leeds 6, and at half-time it was 16-6 to Rovers, refereed by Marcus Griffiths. Team stats, this game had the highest penalty counts so far this year with 16, and Leeds conceded 11 of them. Their discipline was no better with the ball either, 19 errors, which was 4 more than their hosts. Leeds did make more overall metres at a better average gain, but Hull KR were more dangerous with 5 breaks to 2 and 5 tries to 1. Individually, Ryan Hall with 1 try, 5 tackle busts and 183 metres. Matt Parcell with 1 try, 1 try assist and 109 metres. Ethan Ryan with 123 metres and 3 offloads. Kane Lynette scored 3 tries, 8 tackle busts and 146 metres and 2 clean breaks. For Leeds, Conrad Hurrell with 158 metres, 4 offloads. Luke Briscoe with 153 metres. Ash Handley with 142 metres. And Mikolai Aletsky with 126 metres. In terms of fan views, you're going to have to give the first one because I've just got a row of blank boxes.
Well, to be honest, I've not got much more because I've just got a row of laughing face emojis. And to fit it onto the form and not destroy the formatting of the rundown, I had to delete about 150 laughy cryy face emojis. So it was from Fatboy Rob, who just laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed and then wrote lols #Agar in.
There we go, thank you. John Hamilton said that was disappointing. Lost some of the defensive toughness and kept the discipline problems and lack of attacking options. More first choice names returning is a good thing, but they're going to take a few weeks to get up to full pace. I know half-back options are limited, but would also prefer to see Myler at 1 and Hanley on the wing. Or Broadbent at 1 and Hanley on the wing. So I'm thinking he'd quite like to see Hanley on the wing there.
I think that actually is a good conversation topic from this game, and maybe something that Agar needs to kind of get a bit to grips with his team selection, because Ash Hanley is one of the best wingers in Super League, and because the 2 Briscoes actually did all right last week against Wigan in a losing effort, he probably thought I'll put Hanley at fullback and still be able to play both the Briscoes. But I think he needs to